Today we're talking about one of the F1 trainers, Sebastian Vettel'S trainer, Antti Kontsas. More in 8 seconds time. Do you know this man? Have you seen him perhaps on television or maybe in the paddock if you're lucky enough to have been in the paddock? Here's Antti Kontsas. He's Sebastian Vettel'S trainer. And I can tell you he was born some 34 years ago in 1985 and he hails from Finland. He's one of the premier trainers in this particular sport. He spent his formative years growing up in Africa, so he would have been familiar with scenes like this. Actually, they are pictures from my book, Africa on Safari, which you are more than welcome to order at kimillman.com. But this Antti is not the only Antti working in Formula One. There's another one. It's this gentleman here, Antti Furulla. Yes, he's a trainer, and yes, he too is from Finland, and he trains Valtteri Bottas. But getting back to our subject today, Antti Kontsas, he's Seb's trainer. He is part of the inner circle of Team Vettel, and along with Britta Ruska, they look after Sebastian Vettel. So what does someone have to do to get into this field? Well, let me tell you, he's done a fair bit of study. For a start, he has a bachelor in sports science, and he has 2 masters, one in sports management and one in sports conditioning. But before he got into sports training, he was a budding football star. He played for TPS, a team in Finland. However, in 2004 he gave it up after a number of debilitating injuries and he decided to focus all of his energies into sports training. He's part of the Hinsa team, which is a large organisation, once again Finnish, that provides trainers to drivers and other businesses and sports people around the world. And this is their F1 stable. You'll see here Piri Salmela, who trains Pierre Gasly. You'll see Jake Alliker, who trains Max Verstappen. There's Antti, Lewis's trainer and physio, Angela Cullen, and I think one more, yes, Kim Keedle over here. Antti joined Seb in 2014, so for the past 6 years he's worked alongside Sebastian. But prior to that, in 2011, he spent a year with another Sebastian Buemi, and in 2012 and 13 he worked alongside John Eric Verne. I speak to him occasionally in the paddock, and I remember having a chat with him where he openly admitted that he loves working with those who are very highly motivated and looking for an absolute edge in performance. And this man fits the bill to a T. Most of the drivers take a package with, say, someone like Hinsa, where they say, right, we'll take a trainer for 200 days a year, and that will include perhaps 90 days a year of at-the-track stuff. It'll include 50-odd days doing this and perhaps another 50 doing that. Antti is different. He's employed full-time by Sebastian. So in other words, he's a paid employee, he will get his normal holidays per year, and he actually lives in Switzerland near Sebastian. So they are together a crazy number of hours per year. When he's away from the track, say in winter, the pair will do 15 to 20 hours a week of training. Come in season, it might be 8 to 12 hours. And you'll find Antti coming into the track with Sebastian on not all the time, but certainly enough of the occasions, except when obviously Sebastian rides a bike in, a push bike here, or perhaps he'll ride his motorbike in which case Antti will come in separately. But most times you do see him with his driver walking into the track. Come Thursday, Antti will accompany Seb on his track walk. Normally takes about an hour and a bit. I can't exactly tell you what he does on those track walks, but oftentimes he'll be talking with Sebastian or with some of the other guys, in this case, what is that, Jock Clear and Iñaki, the strategist on the left for Ferrari. At home, he creates, as he says, a foundation for fitness. So when he's away from the track, it's all about keeping Sebastian at his peak physical level. So let's move to a day where Sebastian's in the car. Sebastian will come into the garage early. He's one of those drivers that likes to get in early. Normally Antti will be somewhere in the garage talking to him. He will have made sure that his helmet's there, his balaclava, the correct gloves, in other words a right and a left, not 2 lefts or 2 rights, which occasionally they get mixed up, and his hands device. So that's all ready for him. He'll stand by the car when Sebastian's in the car, always within eyesight so that if Sebastian needs anything, bang, he's only a second or so away. Here he's actually holding one of those cooling devices that he'll sometimes use when the weather is warm and the driver needs to be cooled down. On Saturdays and Sundays after the race or qualifying, he'll meet Sebastian out the back of the FIA garage if he doesn't make the top 3, and he'll grab all his stuff, give him a hat, give him a watch sometimes. Britta obviously will accompany him at some point too and give him a brief as he's heading out to do his media. On race day, when the cars pull up on the grid, Antti will be out there waiting for his driver. He will make sure he's covered, in this case obviously with a brolly if it's hot or raining, and then he will look after Sebastian's kit, which is normally placed next to the fence over here, and he'll have his helmet, balaclava, all the gear that he's just taken off in the car. And he stays there normally and guards it. I guess the last thing you want is for that sort of stuff to go missing minutes before the race starts. That's going to cause some embarrassment. On the occasions where Sebastian makes the podium or wins, you'll find Antti out the back waiting for him. In this case, this was Melbourne back in 2018, first race of the year, and a lovely reaction, lovely hug for the pair here. And it just goes to show the bond that they have. He is also very popular with fans. Now, often I will see him pose for selfies, sign autographs, and in fact, I do remember quite vividly in China, this particular incident when they arrived in. It was his birthday, and he had a whole lot of fans waiting to greet him and Sebastian.
Happy birthday to Antti! Happy birthday to you!
Thank you.
Thank you! Thank you!
Thank you very much.
Thank you!
So what does he focus on when he's training Sebastian? I asked him this, and he told me it was a mix of endurance, strength, and speed work. But endurance is the key factor because, of course, a race is 90 minutes long, and that's a lot of stress on the body at crazy G-forces. His heart is up all the time throughout a race. The pressure on the neck when you're braking is huge. And when you're going around turns, there's your core and your abdominals that have to be up to that incredible force. So would it be possible for someone like you or me to drive an F1 car? And I did some research and found a great video online. And I think it's worth playing this snippet of it because it just goes to show you, as a normal human being without that strength training, could we drive an F1 car?
And I see the 50 meters and I push the brake as hard as I can do it. My head, like this, the G-forces takes my helmet and everything down into the cockpit. I can't see a thing. I'm like, trying to shift down gears. By the time I can finally lift my head up, the corner's there. So I'm like, turn into the corner. The whole thing goes like this. I'm like, absolutely, like, as I say, I've never experienced anything like that, and I won't ever again. And I finally get back to the pit lane, and I get out, and the guy goes, oh, you did a great job. You hit 40% brake pressure. Well done.
So that's a valuable point to consider. If you're going to drive one of these cars, you can't have your head in your lap. You've got to have your head upright, and that involves huge neck muscles, and that's something I notice when I photograph many of the drivers from behind. They have necks like birthday cakes. Antti's been in Formula One since 2011. He's contracted next year for another year with Sebastian Vettel. What happens after that? That's anybody's guess. But he's a good-looking guy. He's hugely popular in the paddock, delight to talk to, and I think you'll find has a long career in this sport. Whether it's with Sebastian or somebody else, who knows? Remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos, and hit the bell button for notifications. Your comments are always appreciated. You can own any of my images at prostarpics.com. My blogs and podcasts are at kimillman.com, and you'll get pictures live from the track and during the off-season at kimillman on Instagram. Thanks for watching, and stay passionate.